So welcome everybody to the Think Lowestoft Creative Hub event, which is part of the East Suffolk Business Festival 2022. Today's hosts are Kate Ellis from East Suffolk Council and Joe Leverett, who is the Lowestoft Cultural Hub Coordinator. The annual East Suffolk Business Festival is an opportunity for businesses to learn something new, find out what's happening in their local area and how they can get involved and find out how to access local support programmes. For 2022, the theme for this year's Business Festival is All Things Digital, and the events will include the launch of new digital business support programs, digital tech demos, information on local digital projects, and a wide range of workshops, webinars, and learning seminars. All the events are being held online to enable local businesses to access the support and information they need more conveniently and can just pop in during their working day. Recorded events, podcasts and pre-recorded webinars will be available throughout the 2-week period and beyond at eastsuffolkmeansbusiness.co.uk. This is one of many events scheduled, so to find out about other events taking place, please visit the East Suffolk Means Business website. Please note that today's event is being recorded so that you'll be able to watch it back later via the East Suffolk Means Business website. If you would like to ask any questions throughout today's event, please either submit a question via the Q&A button on the bottom of the bar of your screens or add a question to the chat, but please ensure this is to all attendees so it doesn't get missed. There will also be a short poll at the end of the event to help us shape future events and activities for the East Suffolk Business Festival. I'm now pleased to hand over to Kate and Joe.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. Thank you to the Economic Development Team for having us. So as Marie said, Joe and I are here today to talk about the Lowestoft Virtual Creative Hub. So we'll start with what is a Creative Hub. So basically, we've got a small summary there for you, but it's a place for artists, makers, freelancers and organisations to connect, collaborate, share ideas and with other like-minded people in the local area. We're proud that Lowestoft's Virtual Creative Hub is Suffolk's first creative hub. So that's quite a nice thing for us to be able to promote. And we're grateful that the project's been supported by Arts Council England and East Suffolk Council. And our grant programme has been supported by Suffolk County Council and the SIGIF Created Unlimited, which we'll go into a little bit more later on in the presentation. So for this project, we've kind of classified Lowestoft as the greater Lowestoft area. So that kind of includes the villages such as Kessingland, Somerleyton, Alton and Alton Broad, Colton Colville, Corton. So what we'll do now is we'll just kind of go through what the hub is and the objectives, which we have 3 core objectives that we agreed at the start of the project that we would like to see achieved. So that is to develop a network of creative enterprises who are delivering work in or they are from Lowestoft, ensuring the sustainability and inclusive growth of creative enterprises through a programme of support and small grants, and showcase talent through a place-based website and coordinated social media presence. So we'll go through those today for you. So why have we created this hub? So in June 2020, focused consultants were appointed by East Suffolk Council to undertake a Creative Hub needs assessment. So what we found out from this was that the creative industries are a small but growing sector in Lowestoft and really do have the potential to play a really important role in the future economy of Lowestoft, and especially with all the exciting things that are happening in the town with regeneration at the moment. But the report initially identified approximately 130 creative enterprises in Lowestoft, which I think that was quite a surprise to us, but we did know that there was a small community there. But just sort of a little fact for you here, that the total value, sort of direct and indirect value of the creative sector is estimated to be approximately £30 million, which is actually 65% bigger than the fishing industry in the East, which we just thought we'd try and compare it to something that was sort of quite relevant locally. So in terms of feedback from the creative enterprises through this needs assessment, about what they would perhaps like to see in a physical or a virtual space. And their comments kind of came back with things like they would like to see a marketplace or events, programs to help promote themselves, but also sort of like a central information point and resource hub, because they just didn't really know where to go, but also other indirect business support as well. They also thought it would be really helpful to actually have a place to promote the industry in the town centre. So that would be available to not only fellow creators, but also to businesses and to residents and community groups. So we have tried to set that out, and we'll go through that a little bit more later on. But they also really emphasised the fact that networking was going to be quite an important factor for them as well. They didn't really have that opportunity. So, and also obviously just with the sort of the COVID response as well, with the COVID restrictions, the creative enterprises that were surveyed at the time really did emphasise that it was important to bring them all together, whether that be through the networking or whether that be through another support option. So just to make them feel a bit more connected and supported. So I'm going to hand over to Jo here, because this is where Jo has sort of been leading on this part. Jo was hired as our consultant to sort of help with the connection of the creatives, and has been really doing a really fantastic job. So I'll hand over to Jo.
Thanks, Kate. This has been a really interesting project because I thought I was fairly well plugged into the creative sector in Lowestoft, but I have found lots and lots of artists that I didn't know about who are doing some really amazing things, and it seems that the landscape, the cultural landscape, actually moves quite quickly because there's lots of flux of people moving in and out, which I think has been a bit of a surprise for all of us. So these lovely photographs are from our December meetup that we had. So we kind of very quickly identified that we needed to create a digital directory so that we could deliver to these people and identify who they were. It was a way of identifying them and being able to communicate with them as well. So we encouraged them to sign up for the digital hub and created a series of networking opportunities. So we meet once a month. We move around the town to different venues, and we change the day and the time as well, because some people work full time, some people work in the evening. So we're trying to make it as inclusive as possible. And these networking opportunities have been really, really amazing. I was saying at the outset of this meeting, just before you all joined us, that it's been surprising to me that the cultural sector doesn't know everybody else that's delivering culture in Lowestoft. It's quite a small town, actually, but it turns out that they don't know each other, and these monthly meetups have been really, really good. Lots of collaborations coming out of them. Somebody is using another artist who's very good at building websites, for example, to build theirs, and we felt very strongly that actually the networking and the workshops that we need to deliver to them should come from the artistic community as well. I know quite a lot about marketing and e-commerce, but I'm not a practicing artist myself. So they've been really, really great. And you can see there's a lovely happy bunch of people down there. And we have consistently been getting 25 to 30 people coming to these every month, and they are very keen for them to carry on. So let's have a look at the next objective. So we've been looking at webinars as well, and workshopping events. So we asked the creatives at the very, very outset of this what it is that they needed. And unsurprisingly, they needed help with e-commerce, writing funding applications, and everything to do with making their business much more resilient, basically. And they're all things that we could deliver very, very easily to them. One of the things that came out of a bit of funding that we managed to find through SIGIF was that none of the applications, when we were looking at a previous project in the area, no funding application came from Lowestoft, which leads funders apparently to think that there isn't a need. And we know there's a need, so we really wanted to build some resilience in that. I'm still quite early on in my Arts Council funding journey, and I was also very scared of writing those sorts of applications. They seem terribly scary. They're quite difficult to understand if you're not used to doing them. But it's like anything, the more you get to know about it, the easier it becomes. So we've done some really brilliant workshops. We've done a workshop with the Arts Council just explaining a sort of very umbrella way of what they're looking for and how they run things. We've been working with a really good funder called Sam Ruddock, who's delivered a very practical application on what they're looking for, how you can write applications, and he's about to deliver another one, which is much more of the granular nitty-gritty of the language, taking you through actually writing an application. And we've had fantastic feedback from those workshops. We've done one on other funding. We're about to do one on Friday about the Arts Council again. We've got one on Monday about building an e-commerce shop for an artist, being delivered by somebody that's done a really good job of theirs in Lowestoft itself. So yeah, they've been really, really good. And we've got more coming through the pipeline. And very practical workshops with people who are experts in their field has worked brilliantly. And we're also doing some really good one-to-ones. Sam's been talking to people and giving an hour of his time just to help them to understand the initial idea that they've got and pulling out the strands that are going to give them the greatest chance of success. And we're hoping that out of that, Sam is going to help some people to further their application on to the next stage. And we've got one person who's a musician in Lowestoft who's actually written an application, was turned down, but had very good feedback from the Arts Council. And we're going to try and help them to get to that very next stage, which is to actually get the funding through and hopefully try and support them to deliver the project as well. Because it's not just about getting that funding. Once you've got it, that's also quite scary, as we all know when we win a bid. So back over to Kate.
Brilliant, thanks, Jo. So I'm just going to go into a little bit about the Suffolk Inclusive Investment Growth Investment Fund. So it's the other term for it is SIGIF, just because it is a little bit of a mouthful. But this is kind of going with the grants that Jo was just briefly mentioned. So this is the grant pot that was available to creatives, which was allocated by the Suffolk Public Sector leaders and the New Anglia Local Enterprise Partnership to support projects that responded to the significant impact of COVID-19 on Suffolk's businesses, employees and local economy. So we were allocated a funding pot of £13,000 and it was designed to support the growth of the creative and cultural businesses and social enterprises and the sole traders that are operating in Lowestoft. And these were one-off grants of up to £1,000. And this could support activities such as purchasing equipment. It could help them with their marketing, promotion, digital development. And basically because it was a one-off grant, it's not really a grant that's been seen anywhere else, because it was allowing them to purchase these kinds of resources. You can see here we've actually got a quote from Genevieve Rudd, who is a local artist and who Genevieve has actually delivered one of our workshops. And she just reiterated that it's such a rare grant pot to see, and the fact that we were so oversubscribed. We had 26 applications, but only 16 people were successful because it was just, it just showed that there was the demand there, basically. So yeah, we're sort of monitoring what's happening with the creatives since we've given out those grants, and most of the monitoring is being conducted by Suffolk County Council. So yeah, what I'll do now is I'll go on to objective 3. So objective 3 was to showcase the talent through place-based websites and coordinated social media presence. So we use a website called Think Lowestoft. So Think Lowestoft draws on the Lowestoft story, which has been created as part of our placemaking, and encapsulates the town investment plan that we've been working on for the town. And it has a really strong arts, heritage and culture focus throughout that town investment plan. We also have complementing social media for this. So you can search for us at Think Lowestoft on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. But Think Lowestoft essentially oversees what we are trying to deliver in the town, and it just made sense for the virtual hub to sit here. The website includes a central information and resource point. It also includes a creative directory and opportunities to utilise the blog and what's on section for our events and sort of profiles on artists and creatives in the local area. But the content and the maintenance is managed by the East Suffolk Council Regeneration Team. In terms of the virtual hub specific content for social media, this is continually monitored and managed by Jo, and Jo continues to encourage and support creative enterprises to join the directory, and she generally tends to do a profile on, or several profiles at the moment, on each creative enterprise during the month. So just a little video here. So if it is going to play. There we go. So this is just sort of an overview of the Think Lowestoft website and how you can access the virtual hub and the resources and the creative directory. So the directory was created in response to the focus report, where creatives had stated that Lowestoft would benefit from a central point to advertise all creative activity, and also a central information point for the town, both for the residents and visitors. And we're already aware that connections and the collaborations are taking place as a direct result, not only of the directory, but also the networking events. And creatives delivering work in Lowestoft can sign up for a profile completely free of charge, which we then pop on the website, as you can see here. And it has all their contact details, what their specialisms are, and sort of roughly where they're located. If it's a creative that's obviously working from home, we don't like to post home addresses or anything like that. So we'll just put sort of the area that they are based in. We currently have 62 active profiles on the creative directory, and we're adding all the time to those. And yeah, so please do feel free to take a look at the creative directory and see if there's anyone sort of that might be able to support your business or any of your projects you're working on. This is the social media part. So I've just done some screenshots here. Like I've just mentioned, our Think Lowestoft Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook do also incorporate posts from our regeneration projects. But we do always try and showcase the work that's going on in the town in terms of from the creative sector. I'm going to pass over to Jo here because this is her forte. So Jo.
Thanks, Kate. So one of the things we thought very long and hard about right at the beginning of this project was whether we branded the Virtual Creative Hub with its own ID for social media. I absolutely love social media. It's what I do all the time. I'm a marketeer. But I felt quite strongly that actually we knew that the Virtual Creative Hub was going to at some point become a physical creative hub. So to brand something and spend a lot of energy on something we knew that was going to change within the next sort of 18 months to 2 years felt like a bit of a false move, really. So we decided to use the Think Lowestoft branding, but use a hashtag Lowestoft Creative and the hashtag The Leading Light to track where we were getting the most from it. Interestingly, usually I would absolutely throw the kitchen sink at doing social media for a project like this, but it turns out that it has been those personal connections and the creatives inviting other people into that hub that's been really the much more important part of this. So although we do a lot of social media, that hasn't been the main focus of it. And I think as we're coming out of this project, we can start to expand it out a little bit more, and hopefully we're going to be able to carry on for a little bit longer. So that's been a really, really interesting part of this. I would usually have thought that would be where our growth would be, but it hasn't happened that way. We have a very, very active Lowestoft Virtual Creative Hub Facebook group. which I think is on about 168 at the moment. It goes up all the time. And again, they're self-selecting. At the moment, it's a private group because we want to be able to deliver lots of information about workshops and things like that. And actually, we want to concentrate on people from Lowestoft accessing that at the moment. But we're seeing really strong interaction with all of our social media, and we've hit our targets, which is always brilliant. And I do like a target, don't I, Kate?
You do indeed.
So yeah, it's all going pretty well. But yeah, it's been very, very interesting curve, this one. It's very much about those personal relationships that has been winning this particular one. And that's been seen across all projects that are very similar.
Yeah. And we also have the newsletter as well. So, I mean, again, Jo, I don't know if you want to just say a little bit about the newsletter at all.
So I send out a MailChimp e-newsletter to everybody that's signed up to the Creative Hub, and that's a way of disseminating information about the meetups. It gives them information on the workshops. We also gather opportunities that are available to creatives on a national level, and I get those from the Norfolk Arts Forum and the Suffolk Creative email that goes out as well. And I know from our creatives that a couple of them have identified an opportunity there that have now gone on to apply for. One working with AI, which is a really interesting project. So it's just about building some resilience into that network and a way of delivering information. That goes out fortnightly and is very well received at the moment. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
Thanks, Jo. And then we sort of just wanted to sort of finish the presentation with just some of the feedback that we've been getting from the creatives. Because like we said, it's the first creative hub in Suffolk. It's not something that we've really worked on before, but we have obviously been working with creators and cultural organisations in previous projects, such as the Making Waves Together Great Places project. But just in response to sort of the workshops and the networking, the feedback that's coming back is the fact that this is just so valuable to them. They've not been able to access things like this before, or they've not necessarily known how to access things. And with the networking and the workshops especially, Jo and I are constantly learning new things that we didn't even know. And I think the fact that we're able to build our own, sort of develop our own skills through these, I think that's a great opportunity for the creatives to then sort of pass that information verbally through to other creatives they might meet later on. Oh, did you know you could do this? And it is very much, whilst the hub is digital, it is still very much that face-to-face and verbal communication is still incredibly important. Yeah, so that's kind of it really. That's just a very high level overview of what the Creative Hub is. I don't know if there's any final words from Jo at all about anything.
No, I think we've covered everything really. I think, you know, one thing to say is that coming out of the last 2 years, which again, we were talking about at the top of this, and human interaction and connection, those networking events have been really, really important. We've tried to do as many of the workshops online because we can easily record them and then get that information out. But actually, it's those monthly meetups where the magic is happening. So
yeah, no, definitely. And if you do want to know any more sort of about the placemaking side of things and the branding, my colleague Gabriella will be doing a presentation on Friday at 2 p.m. with a talk about the Think Lowestoft placemaking, and also one of our other colleagues will be talking about the other regeneration projects going on in the town. But if you do also want to attend any of our events or networking, then if you just go to the What's On section and on thinklowestoft.co.uk, we do have a list of upcoming events that you can see there. And we do have a workshop on Friday and on Monday, so please do feel free to come along. Yeah. So, hey.
Okay, then thanks very much, Kate and Jo. I'm just going to give the audience a chance just to ask any questions if there are anything, and then we'll follow up with the attendee poll. So just see if anyone has any questions, and obviously if you are watching this recorded, then we can you can take those questions by contacting. What's the best way to contact Kate for any questions about the project?
You can either email thinklowestoft@eastsuffolk.gov.uk, or you can contact us on any of our social media channels, and we do also have a web form on the Think Lowestoft website as well. So there's lots of ways that you can contact us if you want to at all.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, if you're creative working in the area, then definitely sign up for the hub. So yeah.
Okay, great, thanks for that. Have we got any questions coming, Kay?
No, I can't see any questions in the chat at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, then that's great. Shall we move on to the poll then?
Yeah, brilliant. So I'm just going to put up a poll on your screens. If all attendees could just take a minute to participate in that, it just helps us shape future events, activities, and also future business festivals. That'd be really great. Thank you.
It's quite painful, actually.
I'll just keep that running in the background for a minute, Marie, if you're happy to close up and people can keep completing that.
Okay then, so just another thank you to Kate and to Joe for joining us today, and thank you for those that are here in attendance and those that are going to be watching it online. We do hope that you look at the other resources and other webinars that have been recorded for East Suffolk Means Business, and enjoy the rest of the week if you're attending anything that else that we have on our programme. So without anything else to say, it's goodbye from us all, and thanks again. Thanks very much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.